Hello, my name is Joel Z. Williams and welcome back to Prop Skill Aircraft Model Building. I just want to take this chance to thank a vet that reached out to me. He was a Afghanistan war vet that had lost the movement of his lower limbs, and he reached out to me and told me that, hey, you know, I used to be an outdoorsman. I used to like to go fly fishing and hunting, and I was looking for a new hobby that I could do at my own house, you know, without having to go outside. And I happened to YouTube your video, and you inspired me. Watching your video inspired me to attempt to build an aircraft. And I can't tell you how touched I was by that. That's so awesome. And I'd like to take this opportunity to encourage anybody who is thinking about returning to this hobby, or maybe picking up the hobby for the first time, that, you know, this is for less than $100. I think you can really get a hobby that you can, at the end of it, you can have a physical representation of your work, your craftsmanship, and I really think it's a cool hobby. So I just wanted to reach out and thank that veteran for giving me that word of encouragement. That's awesome. It really touched me that I was able to encourage you to get back into the life. Today we're going to go over some of the finer points on how to do primitive build. I've got a lot of requests from people who are saying, you know, I don't own an airbrush and I don't have all the tools that you have. Can you show me how to do something fairly cheaply and fairly quickly that will look good? So I'm going to do the P-47N model, the Thunderbolt. I think the company is Revel that makes the model kit. And so we're going to start today, and I'm going to take you from beginning to end, start to finish, and we're going to do a primitive build. Thank you and welcome to my site. So let's go ahead and unbox it. Let's get the parts out. We got the clear parts here. And remember what I taught you, whenever you take parts out of your plastic, just go ahead and make it a practice to clip a alligator holder on there. And that way you don't lose it. Just make it a practice of doing that for everything that you do. Today we're going to start the build on the P-47N primitive build. The first thing I want to show you is we're going to spray everything down with primer and get it ready. I like to put the gray primer on it first, and that's what we're going to do today. Thanks. Okay, here's a little tip about doing clear parts. What I like to do is soak them in a little bit of pledge. This is floor care normally, but what this does is it gives a real quality shine to the canopy and the other clear parts, and it also protects it so that if you do get a little paint on it, you have something to scrape off. If you just otherwise you would just have nothing to be right on the plastic. So again, remember, always whenever you separate these parts, go ahead and clip them. That way you don't lose them. Plus it makes it easier to dip. Okay, and when I cut clear parts, I typically cut the sprue with them until I'm ready to assemble them. Gives you another handle to deal with, you know, when you're dipping it. All right. Okay, now the trick is to use a plastic bag. I find this that you can put the pledge in here and you can get your dip on, and you can get a really good saturation multiple times. And it's easy to pour back into the bottle, the excess, whatever you don't use. So let's go ahead and start dipping. And all you want to do is go ahead and get that entire canopy coated really well with that pledge, and just pull it out. Let the excess run off. It's no big deal. And then, like I said earlier, what we did is we took a coffee can and we essentially filled it with water to act as a kind of a holder. And as you can see here, that's going to hold really well. Let me pull it into the camera lens a little better. That's going to hold really well. And this process, you're going to repeat this over probably 2 or 3 dippings. Let it dry and then come back and dip it again. A few times. But you want to get that pledge on there. The pledge really makes it sparkle, and it gives it, like I said, it gives it a protective layer. One more layer. One more chance that you can accidentally screw up and come back from it. You can recover from getting some paint on there. It's not a game breaker. And the excess, of course, you can pour back. You can pour back into the container, and we'll come back. You know, we'll probably do this thing several times. Probably dip 2 or 3 times. After it dries, I'll dip it again, and then come back and do it once more. But this is a little tip for you. That way you don't waste a lot, and it keeps it pretty neat. Keep your area pretty neat. All right, so that's what I wanted to show you today, and we'll get started. Once this dries up, we'll come back and do another dipping.